I like to do EDC, what's in my pocket or what's in my bag videos. But let's be real, my EDC does not change that much. So in order not to have the two items that I have changed/added in my pocket dump, I will also show you some tech that I started to pack almost wherever I go. Before I start the list of the items, I just wanted to give you a small little disclaimer. I'm not Linus Tech Tips and I don't have access to a lab to do scientific tests about these electronic tech gadgets. Especially, for instance, in regards to power plugs or hard drives. So I can only give you my honest opinion and experience about those items. But I can't give you a proper scientific review about those tech items. So don't consider this a review, but rather a showcase of the items that I like and currently use. Let's start with the new addition to my everyday carry. The first item is the CJRB Mini Pyrite? Pyrite. Not sure how you say that. Just as a reminder, for your information, I live in Germany and we have strict knife laws. I do not carry this outside of my home. I only use this at home for opening packages and cutting them down for recycling. But for those tasks that I surprisingly do very often, this works very well. The, I would say, short 55mm blade in the so-called Warncliffe style is amazing. It has ceramic ball bearings and a smooth operation plus a button lock. But while it is one-handed opening, it is not as satisfying to open like a flipper or something with a thumb stud. It's still a very fun and good looking knife, and the closed length of 80mm is easy to carry in your pockets. I will definitely keep it in my collection, but I must say that I do prefer the wider blades like on the CVV Gordo or Baby Banter. By the way, if you like any of these items and you want to buy one of them, please consider using one of the affiliate links below. With those you won't pay more, but you will support the channel with a small kickback of that sale. Alright, the next item is maybe a little bit unusual because it is such a big power bank. This is the Shargeek 170 power bank. If you have watched my video More Power that you can see in the info tab above, I already showcased a different power bank from Shargeek, which I do really love. But this is just a new addition to the power banks that I carry on, not on a daily basis, but more often or not, or, and that is more important, I use these types of power banks a lot at home, because whenever I am sitting on my couch, there's not necessarily always a power outlet nearby, which helps a lot to have these kind of power banks laying around the house. I can connect my phone or my Watch 4 from Samsung or whatever, or my headphones, to which I get in 1 second with this power bank, because that is really important, just to connect them to this power bank, and then I can sit on my couch without having to fiddle around with a power outlet that either is behind the couch or far away. So having these power bank at home, for me at least, is not essential but very useful. Also for traveling, this has a capacity of 24,000 milliampere hours, so it is supposedly airplane certified. I'm not sure if certified is the right word, but you are allowed to take this on a plane. So this is amazing to cover all of your power needs during a flight, especially since I have the Samsung Fold 5, or if you have an iPad or any other tablet or also a MacBook, you can actually charge your MacBook with this, and you want to have proper entertainment instead of the little screen in your airplane seat, then you need power. There are sometimes power outlets or USB ports on the seats, but let's be real, they are okay-ish, but not that sufficient sometimes. So having a proper power bank is, in my humble opinion, a must when you're traveling, but also for me at home. What's different about this opposed to the one that I already showed in the video More Power? This one has a little bit more capacity, furthermore, and I don't think that is a big deal that you actually need to have this, but this is water resistant, so you can actually accidentally splash water on it, especially if you're sitting in the seat and your seat neighbor bumps against your table and your orange juice cup drops over this, then that would not be a big deal. Plus, this form factor of a triangle is actually fairly cool because you can prop up your phone next to it. Obviously, you need to take care about this sliding, but that's easily solvable with whatever. So it does work as a propping up tool. Compared to the one that I showed in my previous video, this one has a big display. Here's a button. You actually hold this down a little bit, and then you see this display with remaining power, the watt output of the specific outlets. You have 2 USB-C and 1 USB-A output or connector or port. So overall you have 170 watts total output and 140 watts two-way charging. So you can either use the USB port and the USB-A port, and you have 140 and 30 watts split up between these. Or if you use both USB ports, then on USB port 1 you have 100 watts and on the other one 65 watts. Or if you use all ports, then you have 65 watts on both USB-C and 80 watts on the USB-A port. So plenty of options to charge all of your devices. But obviously, if you only use one, you have the most efficient and most powerful output to whatever device that you have connected. Then what is really good about this, opposed to the one that I already showed from Shargeek, this has a so-called low current mode. With my Biodynamics Bird ANCs, I love these headphones because I always get some form of, I don't know, headache or dizziness when a Bluetooth device is too close to my ear canal. So I cannot use any AirPods or Samsung Galaxy Buds that are in ear, and all of the Bluetooth connectivity is that close to my ear. So I need headphones where all of the Bluetooth transceiver is on my neck and not close to my ears. So I love these earbuds, but these are not part of this video actually. I just wanted to show you an example of a device that uses low current mode. So whenever I put this on my other Shargeek Powerbank or my Anker Powerbank, sometimes it doesn't charge after a while. I don't know the very technical explanation for this, but at a certain point when the battery is somewhat full, then the power bank stops delivering power to these earbuds and stops charging. I assume because as the name implies, the current is too low. So this has a low current mode, and it actually detects that and keeps charging my earbuds or whatever other device that uses low current mode to 100%, which I really love about this power bank. So yeah, this was the Shargeek 170 power bank. Sticking with Shargeek, I actually kind of love what they're doing at the moment. All of these devices that they have such a fun design and yeah, and very useful. This is the Shargeek disk or Shark disk. This basically is an enclosure for an M2 NVMe drive. So that being said, the reliability of any SSD is not determined by the enclosure, obviously, or it is determined by the enclosure, but more importantly, it is important to know which drive is inside. Another reason why I just do not want to call this a review. Your mileage might totally vary depending on the NVMe drive that you put in here. But yeah, this is showcasing what I like and what I enjoy using at the moment. So this Shark disk is basically just the enclosure. So let me open this up. This is basically the drop protecting soft rubber enclosure, but the actual hard drive or the actual enclosure is this. So this is an aluminum case. I don't want to damage the drive inside, so I'm not going to take this out, but this is actually a toolless design, so you don't need any screws or anything to insert or eject the NVMe drive in here. So you basically, this see-through enclosure. You can open this and then put in the NVMe drive. And yeah, overall, this is kind of like a thumb drive. A little bit bigger than a thumb drive, USB-C, but it's actually a hard drive. It feels all very sturdy, and you have this little fan that kicks on when the drive is getting hot. And what's so cool about this is actually you can attach it to my camera, the Blackmagic BMPCC 4K, and then record on this drive, which works quite well. But yeah, if you just stick it in like this, then yeah, it dangles on the camera and has a lot of leverage to damage. So I don't use this that often, but you have this provided USB-C cable, which I attached with a small little carabiner thingy to here. And then you have this cable, which you could just attach to a computer or your camera and then put that in here just to reduce the potential damaging of the connector. Also, you have a read and write lock protection in here. And as I said, the fan. So here's the intake and here's the exhaust, or maybe it's the other way around. It is not that loud, but it is still noticeable when the little fan kicks on. But I prefer having a small little fan and keeping cool the drive instead of this overheating and you are losing data. Also, I was very impressed. The read and write speeds of this are very fast and much faster than my Samsung T5 discs. However, this is also a place that could vary depending on the NVMe drive that you put inside. So this is a Western Digital M.2 NVMe drive. So the speeds of read and write really depend also on the drive that you put in here. But I was very surprised how much faster this drive actually is compared to my Samsung T5 drives. And then yeah, you can put the drive into the protective enclosure and have a little protective rubber gasket for this, and then you can attach the cable and attach it to your computer. However, this plastic lid obviously covers the fan. If you connect this to your computer, then I would highly suggest to take off that plastic cover so the intake and the output of the heat is not interrupted. So do not attach this to your computer with this small little lid closed up. So just open it up or completely take this off to prevent this overheating. And yeah, I think this is such a fun design. I love this design. Do you remember, if you are a little bit older, do you remember the Sony Walkman and the Sony camera with the yellowish design? This reminds me of that, and I think this is so much fun. Again, the reliability of this enclosure really depends on the M.2 NVMe drive, but from my experience, this works really, really well. Highly recommend this. Continuing with something that looks like a lot of fun, reminds me of the yellow Sony Walkman, is this Aohi. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly. Aohi. Aohi MagCube 140 Gan Charger. And I really like this. This is a charger. It's nothing special, but for traveling and for work, this is actually amazing because you can actually charge your MacBook Pro and your phone. So basically, leave your phone charger and your MacBook charger and probably also your iPad charger and whatever at home and charge everything with this one device. The 140 watts either are on one port, but if you split up between the 3 available ports, you can actually have either 65 watts on both or 140 on just one. And then you have another 22.5 watts on the USB-A port. And yeah, what I like to do is either attach my MacBook Pro. I have the old one, so I'm not sure how it is with the new ones. Mine is very old. I have the MacBook Pro Retina with the touch bar, but with that it works. But I don't carry that anymore because yeah, I switched to the Samsung Fold 5 and I don't bring a laptop anymore. So what I usually do is I attach my phone, maybe also my Watch 4. And yeah, if I have a laptop with me, I can also charge my laptop. So I have everything in this small in air quotes charger. It is much smaller than my old MacBook Pro charger, but it's also, that's the only downside. It does have some heft to it. It has some weight to it. So it's not that light compared to a regular phone charger. But then again, you only need to bring this one charger. You don't need to bring other chargers. Unfortunately, this is a US plug. I am in Germany, so we have different plugs, and we have this little adapter that you can just connect here, and then it just works in Germany. With the input of this device, you can actually charge it in many countries, but obviously always check the input and the output of your country if this works. But from my experience, I can use this without problems with this adapter, but it just doesn't look that pretty, you know? So it's a shame that the devices that are foldable are usually only for America. I'd wish that there was a EU plug that also had this folding design, but obviously our plugs are a little bit different. You have a light here that shows how the charging is being done. So it's yellow for fast charging, blue for standard charging, and green for trickle charging. Yeah, but this is the Aohi MagCube 140 Gan Charger. Yeah, I like this a lot. The next item that you potentially have seen when I was kind of fiddling around here is this ring. This is the Ultrahuman Ring Air. This is a health tracker, fitness tracker. No, let's call it just a health tracker because the fitness part is still somewhat in beta. And this is, as you have seen here, I wear the Samsung Watch 4 as my fitness tracker, but also more importantly as my alarm clock in the morning because it vibrates instead of making a sound. And I track all of my fitness data with this. And the Ultrahuman Ring is basically a health tracker that has a small little heartbeat measuring device, but it also measures your skin temperature, how you sleep, and stuff like that. And I have been testing this now for 3 weeks to measure all of my health data, but also I used this when I was boxing, when I was doing Muay Thai, to kind of see how good it tracks in comparison to my Watch 4. From my personal experience and from my personal opinion, no matter if it's the Watch 4, an Apple Watch, or this Ultrahuman Ring Air, these devices do not take the data that is given to you as a fact. I would say consider that data as tendencies in your daily life, meaning let's say it says you have a heartbeat of, I don't know, 70, and then next time you have a heartbeat of 80. I would never say, okay, the proper number is 80 or the proper number is 70 BPM, but rather use that data to see, okay, was my day good? Is my heart rate or my resting heart rate getting better? Have I performed intensely during my workout? But I would never say like, oh, I was working out at, I don't know, 120 BPM the whole time. That's not what I would use any of these health devices. I know that there are very accurate health devices, but I feel like these are only there to give you a statistic, a tendency of what's going on, especially with sleep. I can measure approximately, okay, was my sleep good or not good? But I would never see like, okay, my oxygen rate at that day, so this is an accurate measurement of that specific data. But rather I know, okay, my heart rate or resting phase at night has improved or has not improved. What I notice is the data between these two are vastly different, especially when it comes down to steps. The steps measured on each of these devices sometimes differed by 1,000 steps. I'm not really sure why, to be quite honest. Not sure. I mean, the watch is on my dominant hand and I wear this ring on my left hand. Not sure if this calculates steps differently, but the heart rate monitoring was very similar. The sleep data was also similar in terms of when I fell asleep and when I woke up. But both of these devices measure the data in light sleep, awake, REM, phase, and deep sleep. And those measurements were vastly different on these two devices, which then again underlines why I'm saying do not take the data that is provided for you as a scientific or a very accurate number. It's good to see a statistic, to see a development over a longer period of time, but not as accurate fact. Before I go into the app, I just wanted to show you as good as possible. Let me just zoom in, and I forgot the name of this color scheme. I will superimpose this here. But yeah, it looks very good. As I said, I was boxing with this. I was doing Muay Thai with this. So meaning hitting pads, hitting the heavy bag, sparring, blocking high kicks, and blocking punches. And this actually held up quite well. Don't worry, I'm okay. I'm just shaking because I'm just trying to hold this still, and the more I force myself to hold this still in camera, the more I shake, but I'm okay, don't worry. I don't have any scratches, and I always wear this on my left hand on my middle finger. The reason being is when you order this, you will get a measuring kit with rings in all different sizes that you are supposed to wear and then kind of see if that's your proper ring size. You also are supposed to wear it on your index finger. However, I did not like this when operating a mouse. A ring on the index finger was always getting in my way when working with the mouse, so I did not like this at all. So I decided, okay, let's do the middle finger then. And I was wearing the measuring kit ring finger size 9 on this for a whole day, and I felt, oh, that's comfortable. Let's stick to that ring. Then I received size 9. And if you don't know, your dominant hand is usually bigger, or the fingers are usually bigger than your non-dominant hand. And I tried to put this on my middle finger and it just didn't fit comfortably. It was very tight and I almost wasn't able to get it off, which kind of scared me, obviously. So I opted to wear it on my middle finger on my non-dominant hand. And here it fits fairly comfortable. Maybe this is a little bit too loose, but I rather have it a little bit too loose than being here and not being able to get it off. That potentially could be the reason why my step counts are a little bit off compared to the step count on my Watch 4. Maybe my Watch 4 is counting too much. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which of these two devices is more accurate. Again, I just want to emphasize this. These health devices are amazing, but I'm not a doctor. But in my humble opinion, now seeing how different measurements can be, I would never see these devices as something accurate in terms of health data, but rather something that gives you good statistics over a longer period of time. So when you get the measuring kit, kind of take the sizing, be a little bit more, let's say, I'm not sure what the right word is, but keep this in mind that your dominant finger might be much bigger than your non-dominant. And when you measure that with a measuring kit, yeah, I'm not sure how to deal with it, if I should have gone with the 10. But yeah, that was just from my experience. Next up, in terms of sizing, the measuring kit, the ring, or my wedding band, for instance, they are not as thick as this. Obviously, it's so amazing. There's so much tech inside this ring. The battery, for instance, is supposedly to hold up 6 days, which did work at the first day, but honestly, now I'm around 3 to 4 days of battery power. Yeah, I'm not sure why it went down that much, but still don't have to charge my device or my ring that often as my Watch 4. My Watch 4 has to be charged every single night. So seeing that this is much smaller than this, obviously this has a display, but still that this is at least double the battery life compared to Watch 4 is amazing to me. But yeah, because of all of the tech inside, the ring, the thickness, not the diameter, but the thickness of the ring is much wider than I personally anticipated. So what happens is either it bumps against this, but this is not a big deal to me. What is much more of a big deal is that the ring feels noticeable between these 3 fingers. So whenever I have my wedding band, if I push these 3 fingers together, I don't feel the ring because it's not that thick. But if I push this together, I feel there is something between my fingers because this is much wider in terms of thickness of the ring. And therefore, in terms of it's wider than the diameter of the ring size. Why is this important? When I'm working out with dumbbells, when I'm hitting the back and stuff like that, I don't notice this. I have hand wraps on. I don't actually notice it when I hit on this area because it goes to the inside, to the palm. But when I'm using kettlebells, and I hold the kettlebell, I feel it because this gets squished together, and I also feel it a little bit on here, but not that much. I don't feel my wedding band, but also when I carry the dumbbell or the kettlebell, I don't feel it, but I do feel when I have smaller kettlebells that when my fingers kind of get pushed here, I notice this. So it's very uncomfortable to use kettlebells with this ring. So I usually take this off when I'm working out with kettlebells. If you're working out with other weights, I fear that this might be uncomfortable as well. But again, the fitness tracking is still in beta. And now let's get to the app. So this is the Ultrahuman app, and I just refreshed the data of the ring. And as you can see here, I was wearing both at boxing, and it measured 4,799 steps. Let's see my Samsung Health. And you see here, it measured 6,932 steps. So there's a vast difference between these 2 apps. Not sure why. Again, maybe it's because of the ring size, I'm not sure. But I know I repeat myself, but I just wanted to emphasize why I think these devices are not accurate health measurement data in terms of the specific number, but in terms of seeing how you developed over time. This is, in my humble opinion, a really good tool. So let's get over this app. You have specific scores. You have the movement index, which is a combination of your steps, your activity minutes, your calories burned and stuff like that. Let's compare the calories, by the way. So I have 1,077 calories on the Ultrahuman Ring app, and according to Samsung, I burned overall 1,581 kilocalories. So again, a huge difference between those numbers. Then you have your sleep index, which, as I said, is a number of the time you totally slept, your average heart rate, then again splits it up between wake, REM sleep, light sleep, and deep sleep. Here it says total sleep of 6 hours, 40 minutes. And in my Samsung app, it said 6 hours and 22 minutes. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Then you have a recovery score, which I think is, together with the sleep index, is one of the most important numbers in this app, and probably why you might want to use this ring. It tells you a combination of the resting heart rate, skin temperature, and your 7-day HRV form. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't really understood all of the data. Truth to be told, all of this data is amazing, but it is also a little bit overwhelming. So if I would really dive deep into it, I probably would be able to use all of this data, but I usually just look at the scores and see like, oh, okay, 88, my performance is okay or good today, or whenever this might drop. Fortunately, this hasn't dropped anywhere below 80 over the last 3 weeks. So I am fortunately in good shape, or in good recovery shape. And whenever this number was high, my performance at the gym was actually also very good. Then you have your cardiovascular fitness number, your heart rate. For instance, right now it is 87 BPM, skin temperature. Yeah, it gives you, as you can see, it gives you a lot of data that you can use to kind of make an informed evaluation of your health in terms of how it develops over a longer period of time. Do I like this better than my smartwatch? Not necessarily. The smartwatch gives me much more use overall. I can see my time, obviously. I can see my notifications from my phone. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing for me is actually the alarm feature, that it vibrates instead of giving me a noisy beep, 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 beep. In terms of working out, it's hard to wear this when you have wristbands on. For boxing, I do wear this, but for Muay Thai, it's difficult because you have bigger pads and the pads are actually up to here. So it kind of bumps against that and gets in my way. So for that, the ring is actually amazing to measure all of that data during working out. But overall, I rather have the watch instead of the ring. It looks amazing and I will keep wearing this just to keep measuring all of that data. But I feel if you would ask me, hey Bo, what would you recommend to me to get? I would probably rather go with a watch instead of the ring. If you do not like wearing a smartwatch, and that is totally understandable, because for instance, I love my mechanical watches and I could wear both, so there and there. But I feel kind of awkward with that. So whenever I would only want to wear a mechanical watch, then obviously having the ring on to measure all of the data is amazing. What I would love to see in the future is connectivity of this Ultrahuman Ring Air app with Samsung, because if I'm not mistaken, you can connect this to the Apple Watch Health Fitness app to kind of consolidate all of that data. So if that would be possible in the Samsung Health app as well, that would be amazing. So get all of this data into the Samsung Health app, then this would be perfect in my humble opinion. And then it would be a great addition for both of these things. If you already have a smartwatch, would I recommend getting this? Maybe. If you want to have more of that data, then this is a great addition, especially since this has the recovery score and this doesn't. And having an option to kind of leave this at home and then wearing a mechanical watch, then this is obviously a great option. Again, there's so much data that I personally sometimes do not know how to accurately read and utilize for me and my workouts. Therefore, it sometimes is a little bit much, but it is interesting to see all of this data. But keep that in mind. This is a lot of data, probably very good data. But if you need this is just something that you need to figure out for yourself. All right, that was the Ultrahuman Ring Air. So we talked a lot about the Ultrahuman Ring Air app. And I think the next items that I want to talk about are some of the apps that I personally enjoy a lot. Let's stick to fitness. And one of my favorite apps is the Samsung Health apps, because it just connects very well to my Watch 4 and gives me a lot of data that I personally can utilize a little bit better than on my Ultrahuman Ring Air app. For instance, the steps that I think are very important, but also my workouts, like for instance here boxing. The only issue that I sometimes have with working out or measuring workouts, you see here 50 minutes. I don't know, I bumped against the button and then it stopped the workout 10 minutes before the session was actually over, which sometimes is annoying, and I can't edit this, unfortunately. You can rename it, but you can't change the data, unfortunately, which honestly is a little bit understandable. Next thing that I love about this app is that I can measure my water intake. I try to drink at least 3 liters per day, and I intentionally did not put anything in here, so you can see it. I switched up to 250 milliliters because I have this glass water bottles that are 750 milliliters. So whenever I drink, I can kind of approximate. And I already drank 2 bottles. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I already drank 1,250 milliliters this day. You could also add food. The Ultrahuman Air app also allows you to add food into the app, but yeah, I kind of found that to be a little bit cumbersome. Also, you can track your weight, but what I do like is to track my heart rate. So yeah, that is the Samsung Health app that I like a lot. Continuing with Samsung apps is my next favorite app, that is the Samsung Notes app. With the Samsung Fold 5, I have the option to use this pen. And this basically has become my notebook. Instead of carrying a noteskin, this is my notebook, as you can see, my daily journal. So I can journal wherever I am instead of carrying another moleskin notebook that potentially is too big. My old diary was a DIN A5. I wasn't able to carry that around. So whenever I was on the road, I wasn't able to diary if I wanted to. But yeah, I have now the potential to use this also for random notes. For instance, I want to kind of restructure my office place so I can scribble down what it might look like in the future. And yeah, that's why I really love this app, because I can just scribble down just like a pen and it works perfectly. That's why I love the Samsung Notes app, one of my most important apps on my phone. Next up is another Note app. I do like the Samsung Note app because of my pen input. However, the Samsung Note app is not available on my computer. So it's not great to, for instance, do YouTube scripts. For that, I use Evernote. And that is my favorite app to do scripts, to jot down notes, and work either on my phone or on my computer. Next app that I love a lot, but unfortunately is also somewhat of addiction, is Instagram. Obviously, it's a social media app. It's a time killer. It's nothing that is really productive, but I do like scrolling around the Instagram feed, watching dog videos, but also watching a lot of Muay Thai videos or motorcycle videos, and yeah, kind of scroll around, but also find new recipes. I do enjoy cooking, and I actually kind of store recipes of stuff that I want to cook in the future. So I really like Instagram for finding new recipes, actually. To create my Instagram posts or photos that I want to add into my daily diary, I use Lightroom to kind of edit all of my pictures. For instance, I was in the office, had some donuts, take a picture and then edit them here in Lightroom to put into my daily diary, or potentially for Instagram stories. So these are the apps that I do like to use the most on my phone. Speaking of phone or tech items, I actually have the Apple MacBook Pro Retina Touch Bar that is fairly old and that has a defect battery. And I want to exchange that battery. Plus, my wife has a very old MacBook. It's the white one, the really thick one. And I want to kind of repurpose it for a Chromebook, make it into a Chromebook. For that, I need to change the batteries, but I also need to change the whole system. So my MacBook Pro and her MacBook need to be taken apart. And overall, I want to tinker around with modding watches. I'm not going to mod my Steinhardt Ocean 500 Titanium, but I have an old Psycho Baby Monster watch that I want to modify in the future. And for that, I need some precision tools. And therefore, I got this Hoto Precision Screwdriver Kit Pro. Obviously, I could have gone with an iFixit kit, but I don't know, this kind of looked cool, so I wanted to try it. I already took apart a couple of small items with this precision kit, but yeah, I just wanted to show you this and why I like this a lot. So you have a bunch of small bits. Hold on, that is the only downside of this. I think I put it in there the wrong way, but I will kind of clean this up in a second. So That's the only downside of this actually. You have this magnetic working mat, which is amazing. It has some rulers, so you can just place it on your desk, store all of the screws that you take apart from whatever you are working on, put it on there. The only downside, as you have just seen here, when it's inside, obviously the bits will magnetize to it here as well and stick to it whenever you take this out. See that? That is a little bit annoying. That's the only annoying. There are magnets in here, so nothing will fall out, but the magnet of this mat is a little bit stronger than the magnets of the bit holder. So you have a multiple array of bits that are, I don't know the English terms, but I think it's Phillips, Torx, not sure what the other names are, the English names. But yeah, you have Phillips, Torx, flathead, Imbus, they call it Imbus in Germany, so hexagonal, then the Torx, but you also have this tool to pry open like a display, and obviously all of these are not plectrums for your guitar, but when you take off a display, I did this actually with my very old Samsung phone. These are usually displays are glued inside. I would obviously not do this with the fold, but then you kind of wiggle inside and try to pry that open, but you need to have to stick something in one corner while you pry up another side so it doesn't kind of stick again back to it. But then you have also these tools, yeah, all made out of plastic, because you obviously do not want to damage boards or displays. So I like this a lot. As you can see here, I haven't used these tools yet because I still want to repair my MacBook Pro. This one is out of metal. Not sure what this is for, but probably for a little bit more difficult parts that you want to pry open. But the main focus of this is this battery-powered screwdriver. So let's put in a long screw, and then you have, see this? Can you hear this? I hold this to the mic. It's cool, right? So it's a little electronic screwdriver with two modes, 1 and 2. And then obviously tightening, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And yeah, this is with a small LED, so you can actually kind of see what you're doing. This is not, yeah, it's not that bright, but it's a nice touch, right? And this whole case actually charges the screwdriver with USB-C. And you can also use this to magnetize the bits. So what you do is you hold it into this place for 5 seconds, and it will magnetize the tip of the bit. So the screw that you are loosening will stick to this, and then you store it on this magnetic work mat. Sometimes the plus magnetization doesn't work. Then you just magnetize it with the negative side, and then you try it again to pull out that screw that was loose in there. And yeah, this is an amazing kit. It just looks cool and feels professional from a design point. Admittedly, I probably won't use most of these tools that often, because how many times will I actually take apart my laptop? But I can really see using this to modify my watch, for instance. And I really am looking forward using this much more. But obviously, these items will be used a lot, especially with this electronic screwdriver. And feels really good. It looks good, it feels good, and I really enjoy using this. And if you have seen in the Samsung notes, I want to reorganize my office, and I will create a work desk here because I just want to work a little bit more with my hands, build stuff, modify stuff, and this will be an amazing tool on that work desk. So this is the Hoto Precision Screwdriver Kit Pro. Okay, this next item might sound a little bit silly or stupid, or why I would actually consider this to be a great item that has to be in this list of tech items or EDC items that I carry around or use a lot. I do not carry this around, but it has been on my desk for a while. Okay, I need to come clean with you. I like to eat cookies, and I usually have a lot of dust on my desk, on my keyboard, and also I have a dog with dog hair. It gets a little bit dirty, and I sometimes do not clean up my desk that well. So yeah, that was my admission of that. I do not keep my desk as clean as I would like, and I intentionally did not really clean up this desk that much before starting this video, just to make a point that there are a lot of cookie crumbles here, dust, and I am not the typical YouTuber with the fancy and clean desk. I usually have a lot of dust and some crumbles here, especially when I play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends via video call. I eat chips, I eat I eat cookies on this desk. I always kind of clean my hands because I hate if my keyboard or mouse gets dirty. Nevertheless, there are a lot of crumbles on here, and then my dog comes, and then I have dog hair on here. It is what it is. So having a big vacuum cleaner is also a little bit annoying. I don't want to have a vacuum cleaner in my office. So I have this Hoto compressed air capsule / electric air duster and vacuum. And this looks amazing, right? This looks like, you know, these coffee espresso machines that everyone is kind of raving about and brings to the office. That's what this looks like, but this is a vacuum cleaner. So you have an intake here, but also an exhaust here. So you can either use the exhaust to, I don't know, blow up air mattress. Never done that, probably will never do this. But what I use this for is the vacuum. So you have a couple of different sets. What I use predominantly is this one. You can kind of screw this on. You could also just use it like this, but I do like using the brush here. Can put it in here, press and hold, and then you can vacuum your desk, right? Obviously it's a vacuum cleaner. I'm not sure how well you can hear me, so let's switch it off again. So yeah, it's a vacuum cleaner. No vacuum cleaner is quiet. But it's not as loud as a regular vacuum cleaner. It's also small. It's not going to clean your carpet or your floors. But this is great for your desk. When you are messy like me and you tend to eat cookies, I like those oatmeal cookies, or I like chocolate cookies. It is what it is. And I crumble on this desk. And then I can just grab this vacuum cleaner, hold. You can also push this again for low power mode, more power, low power mode, and yeah, this is so cool. And yeah, you have a filter in here, a HEPA filter. Honestly, I don't want to open this because I don't want to like put all of the dust that I just cleaned up on here. But yeah, I don't have a long-term review. I just got this recently, but I have been using this a lot. And if you like to keep your desk clean, then this is amazing. It's not that big. You can store it easily somewhere underneath your desk instead of a big vacuum cleaner. So this is the Hoto electric air duster and vacuum. Alright, these were all of the items that I either have currently as my everyday carry, or in my backpack, or just enjoy using a lot. What are your current favorite items that you always pack? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have any more questions, also comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, click the like button. And please feel free to subscribe to my channel, second channel, and podcast, and Instagram at You Know The Bow. Stay safe and healthy everyone, and I see you in the next videos. Thank you very much.